I'm Barney from DPReview, and I'm here with Ray Acevedo from Olympus. So Ray, why don't you just talk about yourself for a minute? What do you do at Olympus?
Sure, thanks. First, thank you for the opportunity to be here. It's a fun day and an educational day. What I do for Olympus, I actually cover the West Coast in both an educational and a field marketing position. The industry word, if you will, I'm a field tech rep.
Okay. So Olympus, as a camera manufacturer, Olympus makes everything from waterproof tough cameras to high-end mirrorless interchangeable lens cameras. If you had to summarize your strategy for our readers in one paragraph, how would you do that?
Well, it's to put the proper tool in as wide a variety of hands as possible, to help people gather great pictures, almost no matter what situation they're in. For the enthusiast market, it's literally creating cameras that utilize Olympus's strong history in the photo industry, strong history of high-quality camera and lens design. So again, that they can continue to gather great pictures and utilizing today's great technologies.
So we're talking about new technologies. Olympus, along with Panasonic, are one of the first manufacturers to create mirrorless interchangeable lens cameras in the sense that we understand them now. Mm-hmm. Why make that move? Why move away from traditional DSLRs, which I know you were making, to the mirrorless models?
Well, keep in mind that the 4/3 format, which Olympus introduced to the marketplace in 2003, was based on this one fixed sensor size. It was in essence designed to optimize a specific sensor size to a specific lens diameter mount. And the DSLR category was something we stayed in for many, many years, but we saw an opportunity to remove some of the, what we'll call unnecessary components of that design.
Like a mirror.
Like a mirror box, a mirror, pentaprism. And as a result, when that was removed, and utilizing the same 4/3 sensor, the diameter of the lens mount was able to be reduced 6 millimeters. And so as a result, everything else was dropped in size and weight along with it, and specifically lens sizes and body sizes. And so that added the portability, obviously, the lighter weight, which in essence also gave us an opportunity to bring in both new customers, as well as some who had been using the traditional DSLR.
So in that connection, you now have two product lines within the Micro Four Thirds lineup. You have the pen line, PEN, and you have the OMD lineup, which is a little bit higher end. Mm-hmm. And can you sort of summarize quickly the differences between those two lines and why they are distinct? Yeah,
of course, the fundamental, they're really targeted at two different levels or categories of photographer. And the pen is for those who want more of a rangefinder style shooting experience, even at the lower end of the pen line, the more casual, and as I'm now starting to call them, the more even social photographer. At the upper end, the OMD class,
which came later, right?
Which came later. Yeah, the pen was introduced in June of 2009. And then a couple of years ago, exactly a couple of years ago, the OMD class was introduced. And of course, the fundamental difference by looking at them is the electronic viewfinder, which sits at eye level, dead center of the camera. And that brings along
in the OMD line.
In the OMD line, that brings along what we call the traditional DSLR shooting experience, but in a smaller size.
So this is the EM1, which is the flagship OMD right now. Mm-hmm. Do you want to just talk us very quickly through the features of this camera and what Olympus was trying to do with it?
Yeah, the OMD, the EM1, was simply built upon what was begun with the M5, and it's all about adding durability with a magnesium alloy, weather-sealed body. But the star here is a big improvement in the electronic viewfinder. It is a much higher resolution, about 2.3 million pixels. And it's also, as I describe it, a much bigger window. Its magnification is noticeably higher. And by design, the body was given a nice firm grip. And because it is a tiny bit larger, the real estate allows a little bit more more controls as well as slightly larger controls. And so a lot of people who pick this camera up really find a lot of appeal to the comfort level of just the hand-holding experience of it. But high performance, it's aimed at a person who is wanting that portability but without sacrificing image quality.
Who's buying this camera now?
Yeah, and of course I can only comment on the US buyers and then those who are actually registering the camera. But the majority of those registered owners are male, and they tend to run between the ages of 40 and 65. And they actually mostly come from households with incomes about 100,000 and higher. Obviously, that's just who registers. Yeah, but I do see and talk to an awful lot of female users, both younger and older than those ages. And the beauty of it is that at various events, trade shows, et cetera, I run into a lot of people who approach me and they've been using this camera or the M5 for some time, and they describe a renewed enthusiasm with their picture taking. And you have to attribute just the ease of use, the portability, the lighter weight to that. And they're truly kind of excited about it. And, one gentleman in particular, the very first person who made a comment to me, said something to the fact, I haven't had this much fun taking pictures in years. And we also see buyers of this camera who are using them alongside their existing full DSLR kits. And we promote that, frankly. Why not? Because it's simply a different tool for a different day. As a second system, yeah. But I've also had, again, people approach me and say, I bought this to use it alongside, and then all of a sudden I realized I was no longer using the DSLR kit. So it seems to be working, and it's obviously been extremely successful for Olympus.
How big is the performance gap, do you think, these days between DSLR and mirrorless of the kind that you're making in the EM1?
Yeah, it's actually relatively narrow for most users, and I have to say most users. There is still, for most of the mirrorless cameras and the OMD cameras, there is still a difference in favor of the high-performance DSLR for extreme fast follow focusing for high-end sports shooters.
Focus accuracy and predictive tracking, things
like that. Yeah, and it can do it. I mean, I do many sports with the M1 at the maximum 6.5 frames that it can do for follow focus, and it gives me, it's the first OMD camera that's given me, 90+% keep rate. And then at the absolute highest ISOs, most users tend to agree anywhere between 3200 and 6400 is the very acceptable rate. Or speed, if people need to go over that, then there's raw shooting and there's software to improve that. But frankly, those are the only two key differences that most users may find important.
So this is the EPL7, which is one of the pen range cameras. This was launched recently.
Yeah.
And if you had to quickly summarize the differences between this product and the OM line, the EM1 specifically, what would you tell people? Yeah, the PL7 is actually a very, very fully featured camera in the pen line, probably one of the most fully featured. And yes, many people often compare it internally, its features internally, to the OMD EM10 camera. But fundamentally, this has got, in paying attention to the social sharing marketplace out there and photographer out there, we've installed a few features on it and tools on that which will appeal to that level user. Of course, one of them simply being the articulating screen that goes all the way down so that your hand's not blocking it, a flash isn't blocking it, etc. And selfie screen.
It's a selfie screen. Let's call it what it is. That's a feature, and whether you use that or not, it's there. And then, of course, the built-in Wi-Fi, which is a part of 2 of our OMD class cameras, and then, of course, this make it a very easy, quick sharing job.
So a smartphone user can look at this camera and integrate it with their workflow if that's their main primary camera initially.
Yeah, and again, the idea is that so-called social photographer is as many pictures as they and others are shooting these days It simply gives them, one, an opportunity to up the quality of their pictures dramatically. And as has been said already this morning, just the types of picture taking, the variety of lenses, et cetera, can improve that over what you can get with smartphones. And the very quick and ease of connecting to your smart device and uploading that is for me like a 2 to 3 minute process.
So you're not just making cameras, obviously making lenses too. I mean, we have the new lens here, and if you want to show that off, I mean, this is what is this lens? What's the focal length range of this?
Yeah,
one?
this is our brand new and coming very soon, our second lens in our pro level class for the OMD lineup and pen lineup. This is the 40 to 150 2.8. A lens that, yes, we'd announced earlier, but is finally coming to shipping very soon. And what this does, along with its little brother, if you will, the 12 to 40 2.8, both constant zoom lenses, they give the higher end user, even the professional user, a complement of coverage, in this case, an equivalent 24 to 300 millimeters in two small size lenses. And that, again, is the byproduct of the Micro Four Thirds design, is high performance, smaller size and weight. Now, Olympus, of course, has a very, very long history in high quality optics, going back decades. And some people are calling this one of the best ever zoom lenses we have ever made, and so far the testing seems to show that.
So there's always demand for new lenses, especially for what are still relatively new systems, like Micro Four Thirds. I mean, what are people asking for, and what are you working on?
Well, first off, I'll say what's been announced, and next year we will see two lenses that are highly anticipated in this same pro class. A 7 to 14 2.8 zoom, which again gives you exceptional wide coverage. I know, again, a gentleman previously was talking about his desire for a 17 or 18 millimeter focal length.
David, one of the photographers we spoke to in a previous panel.
Right. This lens coming will give us that, and we've made that focal length before in an f4 version for our 4/3 class. The other lens will be a very long fixed 300 millimeter at f4. So again, 4 lenses that are 2 of them are already out, 2 of them coming next year, which create a class of coverage for that discriminating and professional user.
This is all good news for the OMD customers out there.
Yeah, and on the other end, who's to say? But I occasionally get requests for just even faster primes. I've had a long-standing wish for something in the 10 or 11 fast prime, but again, the holes will be filled appropriately. I'm confident of that. So
just quickly in the final couple of minutes, I mean, you've been making mirrorless cameras now for as long as anyone, pretty much, apart from Panasonic. What have you learned over the past 6 years?
Well, I mean, one is that there is a growing section of the audience that was either ready for this or and now that they're seeing what's available, is really grasping to this idea. Yes, in other parts of the country, or the world, there were earlier adopters than the U.S., but when I go to trade shows or work events, et cetera, there are numerous people who come to us and are simply, they've heard about it, they want to see it, they want to talk about it, they're very interested, or they've already bought and they want to see what's new. So again, that's fundamental. And 2 is that the movement to Micro Four Thirds essentially kind of validated what we began with the original design of the 4/3 format. And that is so that we can create a system that is truly matched. I mean, Olympus was in the position to literally start from scratch with our digital interchangeable lens cameras. And the Micro Four Thirds system becomes an even more pure version of that, because again, you don't have the mechanical components that migrated over from film cameras. So again, the benefits that come along with that are seeable.
Matching the lens to the sensor.
Yeah, and that was noted from day one by users and reviewers in the respect that high image quality was achieved even at the corners with wide-angle lenses. And that's high image quality, new technologies, new innovation. I fully expect to continue. And that's me speaking one as a photographer and two, obviously, as an Olympus employee. I'm confident in what the company is going to continue doing.
Great. Exciting times ahead. Well, thank you, Ray.
Yeah.
That was interesting. And thank you very much for watching.